David Orban. He is an investor, entrepreneur, author, keynote speaker, and thought leader of the global technology landscape. David is the managing partner of Network Society Ventures, a seed-stage global venture investment firm, and he is a member of the faculty of and advisor to the Singularity University. Could you please give a warm welcome to David Orban?
Thank you. This is my first time in Gibraltar, as for many of us. And you may have seen the title of my presentation, which is not Asymmetrical Permissionless Consent Mechanisms, aka Don't Touch the Monkey. That is what happened to us yesterday, especially as we were instructed, how do you interact with them? How do you actually have a monkey take a selfie with you, or not? And to understand that they are allowed to groom us, we are not allowed to groom them, and they are allowed to groom among themselves. Kind of an interspecies communication. And as many of you passionate about Bitcoin and blockchain try to talk to your fellow humans, there are sometimes breaks down in intraspecies communication too. They just don't get it. And it is, I think, our responsibility to find ever more approachable analogies, examples, expressions to explain the huge opportunities that we are seeing. The open source business models around blockchain and token sales are explained in this wonderful thing we call a white paper. And whether it is 3 pages or 30 pages, they are a certain degree achieving this goal of explaining and making understandable what each project does. But the most important part, in my opinion, is that the business models, however they are explained, must lead to the implementation of a feature in a network that allows interoperable platforms to emerge. These new platforms create a diffusion mechanism that is very novel. Some of you may remember screenshots like this. This used to be the way that software spread. We had it on CDs, and before CDs we had it on floppy disks. Floppy disks could be like this, or some of you remember floppy disks were also like this. Those were the 8-inch floppy disks, the first ones. And here the interesting point is that this was shareware. When you installed it, you had a certain period of time, and that is more appropriately trialware. And it feels like kind of when a project under-delivers on their promise of when the network is ready to launch, you know, whether the roadmap says 30 days or 2,478 days of waiting for the launch of the app that starts the real substantial value support for the token. I hope none of the teams here are going to be on that kind of countdown. But really today, we can start to understand that the tokens themselves are the viral payload of open source business models. It is indeed a new kind of software delivery mechanism where the world computer enables anybody in an unfettered manner to start participating both in the value creation as well as in the enjoyment of the features and the support mechanisms that this incredibly reliable system allows. Now, what I want is to give you a broader context of what is really going on and why now. I love continuing these conversations. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or Twitter, and let's engage in continuing what you may see as some of the provocations that we love to analyze at Singularity University or Network Society Research, my think tank now in 40 countries. We are not in Gibraltar yet. Or my fund, or some of the team members at Network Society Lab who are here as well, Scott, Anthony, Randy, and others that you're welcome to seek out. We believe that hierarchical and centralized organizations were absolutely great for the past several thousand years, actually, since the pyramids were built, to achieve our goals. At a great inefficiency, which we couldn't measure. You know, whether it was thousands of slaves dying in the process, or the spice trade losing dozens of vessels before one ship could come back and deliver on the investment of the Dutch West Indies. Today we are on the verge of understanding how to substitute those centralized hierarchical organizations with a new generation of decentralized networks, where we are able to measure the degree of efficiency at a granularity that is unprecedented. The measure of the efficiency of the network is the granular transfer of a token from one person to another, from one app to another, and the Internet of Things from machine to machine, of course. And this is what is going to allow us to measure things that were not measurable before, put a price on those transactions, and create entirely new markets. That is why I think you shouldn't look at what markets blockchain is going to disrupt. Sure, it is going to disrupt a lot of incumbents who are going to have a hard time adapting to the new world. But the economy is not a closed system, and you should really aim to establish a foothold in novel applications that were not possible before. Whether it is solar energy that is naturally decentralized, where we invested in a crowdfunding platform for enabling people all over the world to buy a single cell in a solar plant that is installed with a smart meter which measures the energy consumed locally and pays the owners of the cells with a Bitcoin transaction. You can be sitting in Norway. Who is here from Norway? Where it is dark 6 months out of the year, and literally be streaming African sunshine in your digital wallet, generating an annuity for the next 10, 20 years. Or whether we are talking about manufacturing, the building of real things, with another investee company of ours called Wealth Migrate that enables anybody, including millennials, to participate in the wealth creation afforded by ownership of real estate. Starting with $1,000, commercial and residential real estate can be owned by anybody who wants to participate in this network. Hydroponics in food, personalized health, peer-to-peer learning. These are all examples of decentralized technologies that are enabling a completely new way of organizing our social economic structure. And this is the context in which blockchain, Bitcoin, and the token economy lives. Where security doesn't need to be based on the violence mechanisms that we thought were the only possible. But it can be based on voluntary association and a self-imposed system of arbitration. Like a third example I want to give you, BitNation, that has launched its pre-sale just a few days ago with great success, that is creating an arbitration token where conflicts can be resolved on the blockchain, and the token cannot be bought or sold, it can only be earned. And it doesn't matter whether you lose or you win in the arbitration, your reputation is increasing if you are able to resolve the conflict in a non-violent manner. Now, these are accruing a toolbox of solutions in order to overcome the impasse and the lack of thought leadership in our political class that is most often driven by a mentality of scarcity and of fear, rather than embracing abundance and opportunities for the future. The speed with which we are iterating in these solutions is unprecedented. Creating new organizations that empower and emancipate people who can learn with no barriers to entry. They can acquire a purpose through an understanding and a dignity in a future where they have a stake, where they know they are not going to be excluded. And that is the basis of stable communities, whether geographically defined, as traditionally was the case, or in the new way of looking at non-exclusive, non-geographical communities of global participation. Now, the bureaucracies are realizing that they are being disrupted by this at a profound level, and they are in a state of panic. The regulators are reacting all over the world in a haphazard manner. Whether it is Russia that is saying a year ago that it will prohibit blockchain as if you could censor mathematics, or China that believes that they are able to close down the internet in a watertight manner. If you look at it in a broader perspective, you realize that this trend is actually unstoppable. And if that is the case, then you shouldn't try to stop it. You should not waste energies and brain power in your community, but you should apply that energy and that brain power to find how you can adapt to a future that is unstoppably coming. Because it is going to be okay. It is going to work out. And we can work together to make it work well. And that is, of course, why you are here. Because you are active participants in this, which is a true, peaceful revolution that is transforming the world. Thank you very much.
So yesterday, when David took pictures of us with monkeys and he said he was going to work those slides into his presentation, I laughed because I thought it was a hilarious joke. But well done, David. You managed to work pictures of monkeys into a tech talk.